Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. It is great to have everyone in the chat here today. And I want to say hello and thank you to my guests. First, I have Jim Hall, Atheist Edge.
Hello. Hello again.
And you may or may not have noticed, but I just got my own Atheist Edge t-shirt.
We'll have to tell the story about that.
Yes, we will.
Yep.
We will. And we also have with us today Hellbound Hillbilly. Welcome, Hellbound.
Hey, everybody. Great to be here.
It is great to have you. I've met Hellbound watching Neil's show. And after watching Neil's show, I said, hey, I want him on my show too. So I sent him an invitation. And if you saw the thumbnail or the description, BrainBug is supposed to be here and Jyuni is supposed to be here. Jyuni usually gets off work right about this time. And so whenever Jyuni is on the show, Jyuni always is a little bit late because Jyuni is just getting off work and needs a little bit of time to get home from work. So she should be joining us a little bit later. BrainBug just sent me a message that his daughter is being discharged from the hospital, and he's actually going to still try to get here. If he gets her and gets her home and gets and is able to make it, he will be here. I'm sorry, they will be here. But if they are, you know hospitals, you go to discharge and sometimes it takes hours. So they may or may not make it. Let's start by saying hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming. We have Krabby Hermit, we have Junk Shop Library, Mr. Shadow Kitty, and Robert X. Oh, and Bo Smith. And Junk Shop had a really good comment even before the show that I wanted to bring up, which was, the theme is maintaining sanity, and you found this rogues gallery?
That's about right. I try to make notes throughout all these shows just because I can't rely on my own memory. So I'm writing down the Neil the 604 Atheist episode that has Hellbound Hillbilly. I'd like to see that. So I'm assuming you gave your deconversion story during that.
Yes, I did. Honestly, had a great time doing it. I really feel like I skimmed over a lot of things and was very vague in it, but I figure if I went through everything with all the details, I could sit there for 4 hours.
Yep.
Well, when I did my deconversion story on Neil's show, I was still a fairly new deconvert. And I was well aware of the things that led to my immediate deconversion. But it was only after listening to other people talk about things that led to their deconversion and then thinking on it and realizing, yeah, I did do that too, and I did do that too, and had not realized that there were a lot of steps that led up to it that I hadn't been aware of at that time.
Interesting.
One thing you said on Neil's show that intrigued me was that your dad helped write the Baptist hymnal, and he used a lot of different pseudonyms, so it didn't look like he was writing all the songs.
Actually, that was it's my uncle, my great uncle.
Your uncle. Okay, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to give my dad credit like that. My dad actually abandoned us before I was born. So, yeah, Uncle Bill was actually much better than that. So, it wasn't necessarily that it was to make it look like he didn't write everything. It's just that different names wrote different things, different styles of things.
Ah, okay.
And I did go through a biography on him and go through and count their list of pseudonyms, and I was wrong. I said 37. It was 38.
Oh.
So, but yeah, he actually was on the board with the Southern Baptist Convention to put to compile and edit the Baptist hymnal.
Interesting.
I keep reaching over here and tapping the hymnal and not thinking about, I should pick this up and flash it at the.
I had one of those for a while, but then I replaced it with a different denomination.
when I was in high school, about my sophomore year of high school, a version of this, one of the revisions of this hymnal showed up. About an 8-foot stack of them showed up for our choir. So that was one of the books that they used teaching choir, which, I don't know. Really, I can't think of many other places that many other things you're going to be able to use to teach choir out of. It's not a widespread art anymore.
Hello, Jyuni. It's great to have you here. Oh, Jyuni disappeared.
And they're gone.
Oh.
Jyuni will be back. One thing that I was really wondering about that you did not answer on that show was, were any of those pseudonyms female names?
Yes, some of them were.
Here I am. Okay, sorry, I kicked myself out on accident.
That's okay. Hello, Jyuni.
Hello, everyone.
Have you had a chance to get anything to eat?
No.
Feel free to eat during the stream then. I will not be at all offended in any way.
Okay, are loud crunching noises allowed?
Yes. Loud crunching noises are allowed.
Okay, yay.
So Hellbound, you said some of the names were in fact female names.
Yes. He had female names. He had everything across the gamut in 38 pseudonyms. He had a little bit of everything, but I actually moved the book with the list of pseudonyms across the room earlier and didn't think about it. But if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to grab that.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. And while he does that, there were a couple of comments in the chat. Bo Smith said that he put on 6 music videos today, and one of them featured me, which I can't imagine how I would be featured in a music video.
Unless it's Math Pig up to some more shenanigans, how he likes to splice and edit in people saying out of context stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I've enjoyed posting some out of context comments on Twitter every now and then, particularly with regards to video games. I put up one that said, "I'm really enjoying assassinating people today."
Wow.
I was playing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, can't picture you as an assassin. You seem so nice. I guess you can never tell.
It's the nice ones that you got to watch out for.
When you role play, like in Dungeons and Dragons, I found that a lot of times to really get into the role playing spirit of things, whatever kind of type personality you are, you try to roll a character that's completely opposite of what you are. So the big tough Marine, I try to play like a halfling healer type, something totally different than what people would expect.
That's, one thing that when I was looking for a game to play about 6 months or so ago, someone recommended Red Dead Redemption 2. And when I looked at it, I thought, this is not my kind of game at all. I'm not that big on first person shooters. I don't like outlaws. I don't like being the bad guy. But I went ahead and tried it, and I absolutely loved it. And
you don't have to be the bad guy.
No, you do have to be the bad guy.
Oh, is that right? I've never played it. I thought that you could follow the law and not steal anything and not shoot anybody and get through the game.
You can a little bit, but you're still part of an outlaw gang. And actually, all of the story. No, you do have to do the story missions, and those involve robbing trains and robbing banks. And there's one place where you even attack an army fort, which was so dumb, but it was fun.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about that, which surprised me, was hunting. I absolutely loved virtual hunting because I hate hunting. I don't want anything to do with hunting. But hunting where you don't have to actually kill anything, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's our inner hunter out somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like Grand Theft Auto, but like Wild West.
Probably because it is by the same makers of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I just downloaded the trilogy of, I think, for the very first games recently. And I still would love to see you play just once.
I'm thinking maybe I should do that. The only reason I have never done that is because I'm a completionist, which means if I don't get the mission done, I just do it over and over and over until I get it. And I'm not fast. I don't
Also,
have
you're
good
not a
reflexes.
speedrunner.
Yeah. And so I figure people would probably find my style of play boring. Because I'm not going to run in there and bang, 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 they're all dead. No, I'm going to try and if I get it, great. And if I don't, I'm going to go try again.
Now, like, I figure since you've done a couple of cooking stuff here, you don't necessarily make your own separate cooking channel, but maybe a video or two.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm thinking you might be right there. You might be right there.
I would recommend a different channel though, Kelly, just based on experience. I don't know, video game and cooking. That's a wider niche audience. That's a wider audience. But I did a series on my channel about disc golf, and it got no views. No one was interested. So if I do anything disc golf related, it's going to be a separate channel from here on out.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I like what Taram said. GG, Godless Gaming.
Oh, if that's not already taken, that would be brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I know Godless Engineer Gaming. I don't know if he does Godless Gaming, or does he do his name and then gaming?
I don't know. Well, tonight's topic is sanity and keeping our sanity. And Jim showed me a list that he put together for today's show that I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Because I am an absolute news junkie and I watch the news all the time, and it can be very depressing. And what Jim came up with was really something to help put some balance to all of that. So, Jim, I'm going to let you take it away at this point.
Well, I thought I kind of thought ahead, and I figured that this show might go down some dark roads, and it might get kind of pessimistic and kind of like, oh gosh, what's the world coming to? Because we're all watching the news. We can't help but watch the news right now, and all the legal shenanigans with the former administration and what's going on, in Eastern Europe. So I thought, let's bring I was going to interject maybe a little positivism, a little just to help clear the palate, so to speak. So I wrote down 25 things off the top of my head and just did some basic research. And every so often, if it got down, I was going to just hit you guys with like maybe 5 at a time. And these are all things just within the past 20 years. Just within the past 20 years, you can be openly gay and be serving in the military now. That's huge. Think about 20 years ago. You would never have thought. I mean, the don't ask, don't tell, which was kind of a slap in the face to begin with. You can be openly gay now in the military. Violent crime is down 42%. HIV used to be a death sentence. Now it's treatable with medication. And I had to look this up. I thought it was 13 states had legalized recreational marijuana. Now it's 18. And okay, you can smoke pot recreationally. That's cool. But what's really cool about that is all those incarcerations for just minor possession charges. Those are gone now. That's huge too.
Getting back to what you said about AIDS, I remember very well in 1984 thinking that AIDS was going to be the plague of our day. I really fully expected that we were going to be looking at a loss of like 10 to 15% of the population of the entire world due to AIDS. I was flabbergasted when we came up with treatment that quickly for it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I wrote down 25 things. So as we're talking, if you need a palate cleanser, I'll hit you with 3 or 4 more at a time whenever it's needed.
Okay.
And
sounds like a
I'm
great
guessing
idea.
how you're going to ask us
Absolutely.
how we deal with losing our minds. And is right now, this time in human history, is it rougher than our parents had it or our grandparents? And let's look at right now in perspective. You know, I mean, we're on the ass end of a pandemic that is oddly similar to the 1917 one. And what was going on in 17 through 19 or so? A major world war. Yeah.
Yeah. World War
So,
I.
I mean, it's all perspective too. So if you guys feel like and the other thing I'll say, I was going to save it for later, is just unplug. And if it's the internet that's getting to you, if it's the cesspool in some of these social media sites, just unplug for a month. Just make a vow to yourself. Don't get on for a month.
I not believe how much that helps.
Yeah, there are times I do just stop. I don't necessarily unplug, but I stop listening to the news quite as hard. I take a day and just listen to car channels.
Right. That's good.
That's me. I do car channels from time to time, but I'm more of an electric car enthusiast, so that's what gets me hyped.
Oh yeah.
But if you're on YouTube and say you're watching car channels, it's going to go off your recommended feeds what you're going to look at next. If you allow that video to end, and it's going to slam you in the face with some other video, and it might not be one. It might be one that you kind of want to unplug from for a while. So I mean, Ukraine situation might just pop up on the next video, so you got to kind of be careful, or have a go to your car channel and just run a playlist to where it stops, so it doesn't keep playing any videos after that. Just
Turn
watch
off
your car
autoplay.
channels and walk away. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that's funny that I get recommended from YouTube all the time is Christian videos. Because I go through a ton of them looking for what looks interesting to respond to, I end up getting all kinds of them recommended to me.
Oh gosh, if on my account here, I don't pay for the monthly service like my other channels do, but I keep getting Pure Flix, PragerU ads.
PragerU, yep.
Oh, what's the other one? I know I've had a couple of Mormon ads as well.
Mormons.org, Dallas Biblical Theology Bible School, something. Oh, and CertaPro Painters, man. If I see another CertaPro Painters advertisement, gosh, dang, they are really pumping a lot of money. Hats off to them. They must be getting a lot of work. I hope they are.
Mr. Shadow Kitty says, 41 years ago, I was arrested and placed behind bars for marijuana possession. I now have a medical marijuana card, and I get it through a licensed facility.
That's awesome.
Isn't that ironic?
Mm-hmm. And Katzter says, it depends on perspective. My dad had it worse. He was in Nam, both granddads in World War II, but I never served. Yeah, I have an uncle who was in Nam, and well, yeah, he passed away about 8 months ago. But after he got back, he had been a prisoner of war. He was in such bad shape. He never talked about it. Nobody knows what happened to him in Nam.
My grandfather who raised me was in World War II, and it wasn't until a year before he died that we knew that he told anybody what he'd done in Germany. So he was actually part of the group that liberated Dachau.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I can understand why he didn't want to talk about that, you know?
Mm-hmm. One thing that was kind of weird is my father-in-law, toward the end of his days, would brag about how he was in the Battle of the Bulge and how he was captured by the Germans for 5 minutes, but his unit was just a few minutes behind him and liberated him. And my husband went and looked it up, and his unit was never even in Germany.
So what is going on there? Is he telling a tall tale, or?
It's actually something that's fairly common in elderly people. They hear a story, and if they hear it enough times, they kind of substitute themselves into the story. My mom's father did the same thing. My aunt, well, my mom's father was an attorney with the war trials after World War II in Japan. And when my mom's family arrived in Japan, they didn't know that the flags around a pond meant that the ice was thin, don't go there. And my mom's sister, who was about 10 at the time, went out on the ice and fell through. And a stranger drove up and pulled her out of the ice and saved her life. Well, my grandfather told that story over and over. And after he turned about 70, suddenly it wasn't a stranger, it was him who pulled up and saved her. You know, he just kind of ended up substituting himself into the story, and he really thought that he did, but he didn't. He wasn't there.
So what do you do, Kelly, to you said you consume a lot of news, and that it kind of from the way you were talking, it kind of weighs on you at times. And there must be a reason you wanted to have this show, this topic. So is there anything in particular you do to kind of to help your mental well-being?
To be honest with you, no, there isn't, which is why I wanted to do the show.
All right.
Because I'm really bad at that. You know, I can let myself get really down, and once in a while I will start turning away from the news. I did cancel. I had 3 news subscriptions. I had the Washington Post, New York Times, and The Hill. And I canceled 2 of them and just kept the New York Times. So I have cut back. But you know, Twitter is part of the problem. I see news information on Twitter all the time, and I'm constantly keeping up with what's going on.
I say we need to keep it in perspective because probably our people, those that came before us, obviously had it even way worse than us now. But one of the things on my list, where was it? I don't know, it's somewhere on my list, but it was a positive thing that you carry basically all human history's knowledge in your pocket now. You know, you have access to all the world's knowledge in your pocket. Now, that just, 20 years ago, that would be unheard of. No one would have thought that. And so there's that. And I thought that is a positive, but it also could be a reason why maybe it's affecting our mental health because we have all that access to all that knowledge now. It's right at our fingertips. So all the bad news just shotgun blast to the face constantly.
Maybe that's why God doesn't want us to have knowledge. He'll make us miserable.
It says that in the Bible that he that increaseth in knowledge, in wisdom, increaseth in sorrow. It says that in the Bible, yeah.
There you go. That's why apples are so big.
And Taram is absolutely right. Gaming, just gaming. Escape reality and create your own. All virtual, and it takes you away from reality in a controlled way.
Yeah.
He is absolutely right. I went through a period where I was so suicidal that I couldn't, everything I looked at made me think of a way that I could use that object to kill myself. I mean, it was that bad. And the only escape I had was video games. And that's how I got into video games, is I would play for hours because as long as my mind was focused on the story of the game, I wasn't thinking about killing myself.
This is the first time I'm hearing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Me too. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it before, but I'm not sure that I've mentioned how intense it was. I tried very hard to hide it because I was a believer, and believers aren't supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it like during the time where you were believer? Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us
Mm-hmm.
had that. Yeah, more of that than like as when we were a believer. Now, we're trying our best to, because we know that this is the only life we have to kind of enjoy what we got, whether short term or long term.
And you're absolutely right. And that was one of the things that really fed into my being suicidal is I wanted to be dead so I could go to heaven and be with God.
Yep.
I mean, why be here? I was so jealous when I would go to
I was the
funerals.
same. Yep.
Yeah. But you're not supposed to do that.
No, you're not. So I didn't tell anyone that that's how I felt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't told that until after my first attempt. Like, oh, you're not going to see God. He will just send you to hell if you do that. Oh, okay.
Now, the churches that I went to didn't say that. Although they did say that it doesn't make God happy because you interfered with his plan. You took your life before he was ready for you.
But then that would become part of his plan then, would it not?
Yeah, just faster.
What?
No.
Being a content creator, I thought would make it worse. I guess the first 6 months to a year, it was worse. It was considerably worse before I grew some alligator skin, and I did not. I kind of knew based on what I had seen other content creators go through the amount of trolling and harassment, and even threats of violence from believers. So I knew what to expect, but just But then after maybe a year, it actually flipped around. So as a content creator, for those of you that are not, your life is kind of in a fishbowl, depending on how out there you are. Like Kelly, I mean, she just admitted publicly that she's had suicidal thoughts. I mean, how many people? And you would kind of have to be a public figure to do that. So now that she's done that, a year ago, 4 years ago, I would have said, "Ooh, she's going to get slammed. People are going to harass her or make fun of her, or try to use that against her or some leverage somehow." But now I've seen, for all the trolling there is, about three exponentially more support comes out of it, and the amount of support you get is so much more than and if you learn to ignore the trolls, then it doesn't even bother you anymore. I don't know, that's just me.
There's a certain group of people who seem to be becoming more humane. While some people are getting worse and worse, some people are becoming more humane and more supportive. And it seems like that group is growing.
Okay, I would hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just anybody who has, even the slightest of followings, it's like being the influence, really, like knowing that somebody has gone through something and speaking out about it. They'll say, well, I know that I'm not alone anymore, because if this person who appears to be having a blast or seems to always be smiling and having a good time, they also struggled with that, then I guess it's okay if I've gone through it. Maybe eventually I'll smile too.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
I seem to have been very fortunate. I have had very few trolls. I've actually even welcomed trolls and told them, come on, bring me your best arguments, bring me whatever it is you've got. And I rarely see it. And the few times that I've had people get really aggressive with me, I usually have friends that will come to my rescue. And I know some people don't like that. They see that as white knighting, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just really nice to have the support.
Wait, what's that term?
White knighting.
Yeah.
It's like damsel in distress. Like, you come and not only do you try to help that person out, true white knighting, it's a pejorative term because it means you come in and not only do you try to help them out, but you're doing it in such a public way that you're you're almost virtue signaling to the rest of the world. Hey, look at me. I'm a good person. I'm helping this person out.
We have our first troll of the day. Math Pig is here, streaking through the chat to ruin
Math Pig.
Sanity. Hello, Math Pig.
We should
It's
ask him
great
if
to
he's
have
the
you.
one that made the music video of you, because he's the only one I know that will take out of context statements and run a clip. I've never seen him do it to music, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I don't know if you got the full question, Math Pig, but the question was earlier in the program. Somebody said that they saw a music video of me, and I found that odd because I know I haven't done any music videos. And so Jim was saying that you take some things and put them together into music clips, and was wondering if that's what they saw was something that you made.
And
See what he
he's
says.
way too good at it too.
Oh, Catster brought up a really good. I wish he would release it. Maybe someday he will, and I'll get to that in a second. But Catster says, I used music as an escape, and I cannot do that. Music for me makes it far worse. And I know that a big part of the problem is my taste in music. I tend to like really depressing music. I liked Barry Manilow, and I liked Simon and Garfunkel, and
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like emo punk and goth.
Yeah.
And
oh
I
no,
was like-
that's way after I
Oh,
gave
sorry.
up music.
Put the Cure down and take 10 steps backwards.
For
Don't
me,
pick up the Cure.
The biggest problem came when the song Bohemian Rhapsody came out.
Oh.
There is nothing that will make me suicidal faster than hearing that song. And so because there was so much music that could make me so depressed, I gave up music altogether. And Atheist Pastor wanted to put together a video of Americans reacting to Australian music. And so I was listening to some music, and the third song he put on, when he put it on, I started to cry. And he was just shocked. And I said, now you understand why I don't listen to music at all, because this is what it does to me.
Was that one line in the song where I wish I'd never been born at all? Oh, gosh, that can get you, boy.
Mhm.
And you know what's worse? If you have a child that says that to you one day, trust me, that's worse than thinking it yourself. Oh, because you are directly responsible for bringing them into the world. And now if they say, I didn't even choose to be alive. Oh, that's a dagger in the heart.
The part for me that was really problematic is nothing really matters to me, because when that starts going through my head, that's when I'm ready to give up.
I think it's time for a palate cleanser.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Take us away.
The frequency of mass shootings have been cut in half in the last 20 years. Believe it or not. I know that sounds hard to believe because they're happening so often.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's way down. The mass shootings are way down. The number of people living in extreme poverty, that is $1.90 per day, is drastically less worldwide. The Department of Health and Human Services has reported an increase in restaurant food quality, but by an entire letter grade in the last 20 years. So that sketchy restaurant that you thought was sketchy, go back and take a look at the health report on it. It might be not so sketchy anymore. And one more, 85% global literacy rate, the highest ever.
And one of the reasons I think that we don't see this is because we get too much news. Because every time there's a mass shooting, we see it, but we don't know how many there were, back before they started reporting them all.
Yeah. I found that one really hard to believe, but I didn't fact check it. So if someone in the live chat wants, oh, hey, Ox is in there.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? If someone wants to fact check that, mass shootings cut in half in the last 20 years. That sounds almost too good to be true, but.
Well, I heard that now anytime there's a shooting, whether somebody gets killed or not, they're starting to investigate it. That way they can prevent anybody getting, or I guess, get more data before anybody actually does get hurt and maybe prevent it.
So, a quick note on the music as an escape. I actually use music. I write music as an escape.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it has gone a very different direction from you. Like I said, I sit down and I write, and the music that I enjoy writing that feels good to me is the music I write from my negativity. The stuff that I write out of pain is, honestly, it's better. When I write stuff specifically to be happy, I don't ever like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a saying, and I can never get it quite right. Possibly Math Pig knows because it's an Irish saying. Because the original saying rhymed. It said it basically said that the problem with Irish people is that all your wars are merry and all your songs are sad.
I feel for artists, anyone with any creativity in their body, which I do not, but to be a truly, all the famous artists, painting, music, literature, everything, the best ones were all the miserable ones. And I don't want, I'm glad I don't have a creative bone in my body.
I think it's because artists tend to feel more. And that what they feel comes out and is expressed in the art. And I've reached a point where I am so close to feelings that it's hard for me to feel anything anymore.
So Ox says, oh, the number, well, thanks for taking the wind out of our sails. I was trying to give you guys some good news, but yeah. So that maybe mass shootings have gone down, but the death toll from mass shootings is dramatically up. Is that right? Oh, well, scratch that one. I've got plenty more, and they are good news. Damn.
I did see one thing that I saw recently was that the murder rate. Well, let me finish with Oxes before I bring this up. Yeah, death toll in mass shootings in the last decade has grown dramatically. In the 70s, mass shootings claimed an average of 8 lives per year. From 2010 to 19, the average was 51 deaths per year. And I think that's because of the weapons. You know, people have these assault weapons and weapons with high, what do you call it?
Magazines.
Thank you. Yeah.
The assault weapon, no legal weapon in the United States can shoot any faster. You can't legally own a fully automatic weapon. So any rifle that you see, no matter how grisly and rough it looks, it can shoot no faster than you can pull the trigger, same as a pistol. It's the high capacity magazine load that is really which makes it more deadly. It can hold 30 rounds instead of a normal semi-automatic pistol that can only hold half that.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm out here in the Ozarks. Yes, I own firearms and I go shooting for. Honestly, I go target shooting. It is a stress relief for me. And my older pistols have 8-round magazines. My new pistols that I've bought more recently have 17-round magazines. I think you've got a point that is exactly what's going on, is that we're making them bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you don't have assault rifles or, you know.
I actually do own an AR-15.
See, that's what I'm saying. An assault rifle. It's still semi-automatic. That's why kind of assault rifles, that really has no real meaning. It can't. An AR-15 can shoot no faster than a Glock pistol.
Yeah. It can shoot as fast as I can pull the trigger. It shoots 1 round. But the thing is, there's also a matter of safety and education in the matter. Like right now, okay, that rifle is 6 feet away from me behind 2 locks. The key for that cabinet is inside of another safe. because I don't want anything to possibly be able to happen.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of stories where either the parents give the guns to the kids, and bad accidents happen.
Yeah, well, that's a cultural problem.
I mean, just look at what
Because-
happened with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Well, yeah, he gave money to somebody else to go buy one for him. And that person should be held responsible, should have been held responsible. Personal thing, I'm not going to get into that. That's one of the channels that I was working on starting once upon a time was the Liberal Gun Nut. Because, yes, they are fascinating. There's a lot of information to be learned. And there's a lot of information that can make things safer.
Oh yeah, well, it's like you said, education. I guess knowing that it's in the possession of somebody who's able to wield it and handle it correctly. That's all that matters. I'm pro, choice of having a firearm as well. It's just we can't give it to somebody who's just not mentally capable of handling that. Like if they're willing to hurt themselves, they're also going to be willing to hurt others.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm in favor of licensing, because for a license, Missouri, we required a license to carry a concealed weapon, and you had to take a course. You had to pass the course. You had to be able to show that you were capable of handling your particular firearm effectively and safely.
They haven't done insurances on it yet, right?
They did not do insurance, but now they've also gone through, after we did all of the work to put that in place, and gone with what they call constitutional carry, which means you don't have to have that training anymore, which that specifically makes things more dangerous. Requiring training makes it safer.
I'm sorry, Kelly, I got us off the rails there. We're talking about.
Sorry, yeah, we are off the rails here.
That's all right. Oh, and I want to say hey to Beck in the live chat. I'll be on his show right after this.
B's show?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's have a few more good news items.
Oh, shoot. Okay, it's on another screen. Okay. This depends on it's good for me as a Marine, because I always thought, I mean, equal rights is equal rights, right? As an active duty Marine, it kind of bugged me that my female counterparts were not allowed in every job field, and now females are now allowed in every combat MOS. Which, if you're a fire-breathing female Marine, you're jumping at the chance for this. You want to fire that javelin, you want to get in that tank, and now they can. That's awesome. I think it's females in combat MOSs. I don't know why yet they are not required to register with selective service like we are. That's another issue. But this will appeal to you.
Let's stop and just talk about that one for a bit, because I looked at that one and I said, that is something that I have completely changed my mind on over the last 40 years. Because I remember back in the 70s when it first came up as an issue, should women be allowed in combat? And everyone was absolutely no, 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 no. And I listened to the arguments, and the primary argument against it was that the men are going to be distracted at trying to protect the women, and they're not going to be concentrating on what they're supposed to be doing. And I bought that. But of course, you have to realize I was a believer back then too, and I believed in all that patriarchal garbage.
You do realize that's the exact same argument they used to not allow women in the military, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's garbage. Oh,
and BrainBug is here.
Hey, Ray. Oh my gosh, your hair is longer.
My hair's long. Oh, isn't it cute though?
Did you dye it differently?
No, this is a natural color.
Really? Holy
Yeah.
cow!
It's just like a dark brown. Oh, I said when I was really little, it was like a platinum blonde. It was gorgeous
really?
blonde hair, and then as I grew up, it got darker and darker. And here we are.
My younger brother was like that too. He was platinum blonde until he was about 8 or 9, and then it started getting darker.
All right, you're gonna have to introduce me to our hillbilly friend here because I know these other two folks. I know
BrainBug, I
Jyuni,
don't
of
know if I've
course.
ever seen you in real well, virtual life. I've seen you're very ubiquitous on social media, but I don't think I've ever seen you before.
Yeah, aren't I pretty?
Yes.
Didn't prepare you. That voice didn't prepare you for that. Let me put my glasses on so I can get a better look at that. Look at our
nice.
panel here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I follow. We're friends on Facebook. I think Atheist Edge.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. But Hillbilly, how are you? Good to meet you.
Doing really good. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Hillbilly was on Neil the 604 Atheist and did his deconversion story quite recently. And I happened to see that episode and I was really interested. And so I wanted to have Hillbilly on my channel.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to always meet new people and expand our community. I'm loving it.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, yes, and it is a wonderful community to be a part of.
Yeah. So are you just? Am I the only one you're just now meeting, or do you know Jim and Jyuni? Are you just meeting them too?
Jyuni, this is the first time I've met Jyuni. Jim, I believe I've seen you over around Neil's channel, and Granny I've seen around between Godless Engineer and Neil and everywhere else.
It helps be retired. I tend to get around a bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Math Pig, there's whatever time hack that is. Remember that one, and there's something you can take out of context.
Yeah. Math Pig can clip some stuff together for us, Matt Powell style. I can say all kinds of crazy stuff.
Being retired, I get around a lot.
Last time I talked to you, Jim, you were concerned about getting sent overseas to help train some folks. That's what I understood?
Well,
what happened last
that's a
time.
good segue. That's why Godless Granny got that Atheist Edge shirt because I don't know, it's still a coin flip. I was going to join the Ukrainian Defense Force, the Foreign Legion. I've heard too many negative things about it, how they treat the foreign fighters there. So that's out. So I've got my hand in a lot of cookie jars right now, a whole bunch of NGOs, UN peacekeeping force. So it's just a matter of if they want a 54-year-old overweight, former active duty Marine, but
But you're still a Marine though. You
Right.
still.
I'm thinking
You could kick my ass for sure.
I would like them to see my potential, but I'm hoping. I did get a response back from the American Red Cross today, so saying that they've already completed my background check, so that's looking good. So in the event I do go, even if the war's over, because it's lasted already 3 weeks longer than I thought it would, but if the war's over, there's still a need to go out and help people over there. So I'm going to keep trying. When and if it does happen, Godless Granny's going to take over my channel as well. And I'm going to ask all my patrons to shoot over, jump ship and join her or join someone else that they enjoy watching. And
Yeah,
I
serious
think we
then.
lost Jim's audio.
Yeah, it's a signal. The signal peaked or whatever. I heard
But
that.
Jim's pretty serious though.
Oh, that.
He's got himself muted for the moment. So we'll. Oh,
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Are you
that's. I
back?
mean,
sorry.
doing what you can to help
Yeah.
out the people over there in the.
If she does, if I do go, Godless Granny's going to take control of all Atheist Edge social media and channel and everything, and then do whatever with it. And yeah. Oh, and so when she does my channel, she's gonna. Have you gotten that fake goatee yet? So she's gonna become
Edgy Granny.
Edgy Granny. She's gonna get the Atheist Edge ball cap and the fake goatee and wear that
Love it.
t-shirt. Yeah, that'll be funny. Anyway,
Edgy Granny. I can't wait for it. Yeah. So are you looking like at security personnel kind of stuff? Or are you actually looking at training?
Ideally,
combat?
see, my bucket list is empty. I have no regard for my own personal safety. I think it's someone like me that needs to actually. I see myself like in convoys that are maybe transporting refugees from big cities in
Mhm.
Ukraine to the border, to the Polish border, maybe. That would be something I'd love to do.
Yeah.
Something that not everyone would be willing to jump at, you know.
See, most people hate escort missions, but Jim loves them. Jim loves the escort missions.
Bringing up my college days.
Yeah.
Literally.
Ooh.
Yeah. Our life's in a fishbowl. Kelly admitted to suicidal thoughts earlier. So yeah, that's out there. Or, you know, perimeter security, some type of security, you know, but you know, even if it's helping the children and you know, so many pets are being brought over and they don't know what to do with all these pets. So running a kennel, maybe. I mean, anything. I just want
all the shelters and stuff are going to need security. Yeah.
Sure.
With what's going on. So I hope you find something to something to pitch in. 'Cause you got the skills to do it, then definitely go to it because it's amazing.
Need to cut 50 pounds though, real quick. That would help a lot. Anyway, see, we're off track again.
You got a rowing machine?
That's okay. We're fine. I only picked a topic so that we would have something to kind of cohesively hold the program together. But the real purpose of most of these shows is just community building and a time to socialize and a time to let our hair down a little bit. So I don't do a whole lot to prep for these shows. And if my guests just want to talk, you know, whatever they want to talk about is fine with me.
Here's two more pieces of good news for people that need a little help with their mental health. When I was your all's age, we had to go to a store on a Friday night and fight everyone in town for that first run movie that might run out. And everyone wanted to watch that first run movie. And now you don't have to fight everybody. You don't have to leave your house and you can stream it right to your TV. Back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, a Segway in today's dollars cost the same as what 16 commuter e-scooters cost today. So like mini electric scooter travel is exponentially cheaper now to get around in dense cities. Oh, and one more thing, as Tim mentioned, used to say, we right now are living twice as long as our great uncles and ancestors. So our lifespan is doubled from before. Think about it.
Doubled from about 1700, but not.
Oh, I don't know what he says. Have you seen Tim mention that storm? Everyone's seen that storm video.
1744 census is usually what they go off of on that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that is that we've doubled our lifespan in the last 200 years is amazing.
That's awesome. It's just think about it.
300 years, I should say.
I mean, if you're over 40 right now, you're on bonus time because of science.
Wait, are you saying our lifespan has gotten shorter or longer?
It's gotten
Because
well.
I thought we used to live like 900 years before.
From the Methuselah.
All right.
In the days of Noah.
The newest generation, what is it, Gen Alpha? The kids that are teenagers right now, I think they're Gen Alpha. For the first time since the Industrial Revolution, that generation has a shorter longevity and a higher chance of heart disease and it's sedentary lifestyle from video gaming and being online. Yeah.
From doing this.
There is
overeating.
There is a weight obesity crisis in the U.S. I don't know about elsewhere in the world, but I know that in the U.S. it's growing. That's growing exponentially too. It just keeps increasing and increasing. Those numbers do, and pandemic's not helping with that either.
Well, a lot of that is because we have been pushed to think that we're supposed to have more food. When I was a kid, when we had McDonald's, my parents bought us each a hamburger, and they bought 2 orders of fries, which in that time there was only one size of fries, what they now call a small fries, and we shared them. So each kid got a half an order of fries. And for the adults, a cheeseburger and an order of fries and a Coke was considered a meal. Now that's considered a child's meal. You know, what we've defined as appropriate portions has changed drastically in the last couple decades.
That's a good
So
point.
supersize still a thing.
Human
It's
body mass
kind
has
of a thing.
increased. Yeah.
I remember when the quarter pounder first came out, and my mother had a fit. She couldn't believe people would actually eat a quarter pound of hamburger.
Oh,
I got a 10-year-old who stuffs those away. Yeah, he growing boy.
Hellbound, you had something to say?
Oh no, I just the question was asked. I believe it was Jyuni that asked if supersizing was still a thing, and they've kind of. I think they're trying to normalize it, so it's just you can order your meal as a large, and they'll try to talk you into it, as opposed to just supersize it.
Yeah,
And-
that
Oh, go ahead.
I was that documentary probably didn't do him any favors on that concept.
Yeah, I'm sure it helped us, but well, I mean, myself, I've lost 125 pounds over the last like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, my
Congratulations.
gosh, that's awesome.
oh, that's a whole person.
Oh yeah, I weigh less now than I did in high school, and okay, the last 3 years I've been having to take care of my mother, which adds to my activity, and I've started paying more attention to my body, and I stop eating when I'm full. I don't try to stuff myself anymore. It's helped me.
That's great.
So, yeah, I'm not trying to give health advice here. I'm
Yeah, I was
saying,
gonna say. I was gonna say, like, any tips?
like I said, I stop eating when I'm full, and I try to eat reasonable portions of decent stuff instead of gorging on cookies.
Well, if you ate a supersized meal for every meal of the day, that would be what, like 6 pounds of
Oh,
food. That's a
geez.
small
Yeah.
baby
Yeah, that's
of McDonald's that you could eat every day.
that's a literal child-sized meal.
Hmm.
Maybe that's what they were going with.
Child size. One child.
Oh, I got into this with Robin this morning because Robin has been really on edge because Auburn has had some group that has had some huge display, this huge anti-abortion display on posters that are all along the sidewalk that cannot be avoided, and they're graphic and they're transphobic and they're homophobic and they're just awful. I even sent a complaint to the administration because they are on the same concourse that leads to the daycare. These are out where children are going to see them, and they were completely inappropriate for children. For Robin, it was a completely different issue, which was that they were transphobic. And Robin said, for the first time in my life, I do not feel safe on my own college campus. And today the stuff was down, and Robin said, what are we going to do to celebrate? I said, well, you probably should go eat babies. Let's see, there's baby spinach, baby lima beans. we were trying to think of all the food that had the word baby in it.
You get baby carrots and baby back ribs.
Baby carrots. There we go. I came up with baby back ribs, but Robin is a vegetarian, so Robin didn't want the baby back ribs. But I didn't think about baby carrots.
Yeah. Baby carrots. I'm kind of on the
Baby
fence
twist.
about baby carrots. They're really not the best, but that's a whole situation to get into.
I love
Off
baby
topic.
carrots.
Do you
You-
love baby?
I do, because you can eat them like a cookie. The reason that cookies are so attractive is you can reach in the pantry and grab a cookie and just eat it. But if I want an orange, I've got to peel it. If I want a mango, I've got to peel it. But a baby carrot, I can reach in the fridge and grab that and eat it as well.
As a kid, I used to have it with sugar, but now as an adult, I would have it with hummus, and it's pretty good.
Stephen
Carrots are
Colbert says
beautiful.
baby carrots will make you gay, though. Just so you know.
Oh my god!
Oh, that reminds me of this tweet I saw today. Oh my goodness, this guy was like, I've never called into work a day in my life. I've never called in gay either. I missed work on the day of my dad's funeral. And I'm like, who would brag about that? That you put work before your family, before the death of your own father? Why would that be something to be proud of? But I didn't understand that he compared calling into work as calling in gay. And gender, I think he said gender confused too. It's like, buddy, that's not how any of this works.
That's not how
Calling
any
gay.
of this
If I could call in gay, do you think I'd ever go to work? Did we lose Jyuni?
Yeah, we lost Jyuni. We lost Jyuni one other time. Jyuni will be back.
So is Robin on spring break right now? When does he have to go back?
No, Robin will be home this weekend. Robin's school actually had probably the earliest spring break of anyone, because they were off the work. He was off the first week of March.
March.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty early, yeah. Our kids were off the week of St. Patrick's Day is the week that they were off, which kind of sucks for them because they don't get to go to school and do the wear the green outfits and all that stuff and do the leprechaun traps. But I only have one kid that's young enough to still do that, I guess. Jyuni's back.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I had to. I was roboting, and then or at least I was hearing everybody roboting, and so I kicked myself out. I also sent you something, Granny, on Twitter.
Okay.
Yes, since we're talking about abortion, this
You missed it. We found out we could call in work. You can call in gay to work and get the day off. A paid day off.
Oh my gosh.
Soon. Yeah, so I'm gonna call in gay tomorrow.
have you had any guy hit on you yet?
Me?
Yeah, and I'm saying like a cis straight dude.
Yeah, but I don't want to say who because I don't want to embarrass somebody. somebody in the community
or anything.
Somebody in the community came up is in my DMs. I not being inappropriate or anything.
Hey.
Being very
forward.
Yeah. Because I posted some pretty pictures that I had. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
That has happened. I'm gonna start blushing now.
Yeah, I recently got serenaded by somebody with a rap.
Oh, I'm boobless tonight because I don't know if what Granny said about me being late, but I was unattainable and I was rushing to get back here, but not in the emergency or anything, but I didn't have time to put my boobs on, so now I'm boobless.
All right, I don't know. I keep hearing once we get into the HRT, they'll come in.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the future holds. The future holds for me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sanity, apparently my doctors are trying to say that I'm manic. So that's why I'm here with my handle, the manic squid.
Do you feel manic? Well, manic is they call that bipolar disorder now. It's kind of weird that they're using the term manic at all.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's manic depression, right? And that's what they call bipolar disorder now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to see if they can either rule it out or see if that's what it is.
Well, if they can find it, if that's what's going on, then you can get treatment for it, and that's great. So hopefully they do figure something out. I'm still working on what I got going on, so I see my counselor. Saw my counselor yesterday, and we'll will continue to do so for the foreseeable future, because I got a lot of stuff going on too. So I'm so happy to hear that I'm not the only one trying to work out these problems. You give me a lot of solidarity in the community there,
Yeah.
Jyuni.
Oh yeah, no. In terms of keeping sanity, talking to somebody, even if it's professional, it helps a lot. Sometimes it's not even just to get some clarification of what you have, but it's like, oh, it's like there's a solution to this.
Sometimes
Although,
just having somebody to vent to even is such a relief.
yeah, and then I guess my partner's noticing it. Like she's saying, "Yeah, that's true. You got all these problems. Oh my gosh!" And and then she's recently seeing my spending habits, and it's like, "Yeah, you have a problem."
It's okay. That's another thing we have in common, because my partner diagnoses me too. She's working on studying to get her psychology degree, but she is
Ooh.
yeah.
Mine too, but like on her own terms.
Yeah.
With her own research.
With her own research. She's gonna be one of those kind of psychologists. I guess that's good enough for Twitter anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
I saw somebody on Facebook, or it was Twitter, called La Bianca. Yeah, I want to say, and I feel I look at me here doing that. Sorry, V, love you, so much love. They were shared this thing. This person saying that they were a gender philosopher. What the heck is a gender philosopher? That even, where do you go to get your philosophy degree in gender?
No idea. As long as it's not at a preschool to 5th grade, like where Greg Locke got his degree from.
I think it's just a bullshit degree that you can claim. Like we can all be gender philosophers right now, right? Y'all feel like being gender philosophers with me tonight? Just for tonight, we can be.
Oh, sure.
Especially after someone came after me on Twitter and told me I was a pedophile because I thought it was okay for kids to transition.
That doesn't add up.
Who was the one that said that? I
Oh,
forgot.
the horror.
Who was it? I don't remember his name, but I just was absolutely flabbergasted. I said, "How do you get that?" We weren't even talking about sex. How do you get pedophilia out of this?
Yeah, I've been called a groomer, and such other derogatory insinuations as well. So you're not alone there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was under Matt Walsh, and that's exactly what I expect, because of all the people I have seen on Twitter, people who follow Matt Walsh are by far the most aggressive.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Walsh is yeah. He's the one that I kept seeing that they were talking about Leah Thompson, Leah Thomas, the swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leah Thomas.
Right.
Leah Thomas. Anyway, they were talking. Leah Thompson's the actress from the 80s. Yeah.
Yes.
So they were talking about. Matt Walsh was talking about her, and he kept calling her him and calling him Tim, and it's just like, social decorum indicates that, regardless of whether you accept that they are female, that it is, you are the person in the wrong if you address somebody by a name or pronoun that they don't identify with. People have been using it as to be derogatory for years, calling a man her or she to rile him up. It's known that calling somebody a gender that they don't identify with immediately riles them up. So why?
Yeah, so would they appreciate it? We misgendered them.
Right. I mean, you don't have to agree that that's my gender, but you can address me as my gender.
I brought that up 30 years ago to my husband and my pastor, and they totally didn't get it. I was trying to explain to them why I find it so offensive to hear drill sergeants insult men by calling them ladies. I said, it is not a shameful thing to be a lady. Calling a man a lady is not a derogatory term. And they didn't get it.
Yeah,
That
I'm with you
doesn't
there.
happen so much anymore, if that's any consolation, Granny.
That's good. That's good because
Good
I
to
used
hear,
to see it all the time back then.
Yeah. I just don't see how someone can get to hormone replacement therapy for any age person and then go from there to pedophilia. That they either
Mhm.
don't understand science, they're willfully ignorant, or they're just plain ignorant. I don't know which one it is.
It's because they fetishize transgenderism. They can't see it as anything more than a sexual fetish. So anything to do with gender identity is immediately considered that you're talking about this fetish that adults have
Yeah.
that shouldn't be that should not be in the realm of kids. That's the way they
Oh.
perceive it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're confusing
Now it's
gender.
starting to make sense.
They're
and
confusing
sex.
gender identity with sexual proclivity,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Right. Like they like dressing up like a woman sexually. It sexually arouses them. That's what they think of us. I don't understand that it's my everyday life. You know, I sit down and drink my coffee at my computer in the morning as a woman. I go to the freaking refrigerator to get some milk as a woman. I do all the mundane things from day-to-day life as a woman. It's not all about only when I'm in the bedroom getting frisky that I want to be a woman. It's just how I feel. I'm sorry. I'm running over the show with this gender crap. Sorry.
Oh, hey, feel free. You know, like I said before, I picked sanity as the topic so that people would be free to talk about anything that drives them insane or helps them feel sane, which was intentional to cover anything anybody wanted to talk about.
Honestly, I appreciate that you are kind of, like you said, running over the conversation with it, because I've spent the last week or so trying to explain to my mother partly the Leah Thomas situation, because it's been brought up in a political ad locally.
And I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into a discussion about trans women in sports because there's a lot of nuance there that I don't think I don't have the understanding or the interest in sports to learn enough about to make a valid make any valid talking points. But just in general society, that's where I stand. That's where I want to advocate. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't have that expertise either, and I don't think I have honestly, at this point, I don't have the information or the time to invest into that study.
You don't need all the information. All you need is empathy.
Yeah.
Understand that somebody, this is who they are, and accept it. How hard is that?
Yeah. I don't have to know everything to know that, to understand and realize that my opinion does not matter to your identity. Your identity is yours.
Yep.
Thank you.
There was a comment here that I really enjoyed that I put up for a moment here from Katzer, who said, guys who use ladies to insult men don't realize just how big of balls ladies have. They're so big they don't fit between their legs. They have to be on their chest.
Well,
I love it.
Women's gonads are in their bodies, but yeah, I get what they're saying.
But that goes along with something that Betty White said that I thought was absolutely fabulous. And she said, why do people say grow some balls? Balls are weak and sensitive. If you really want to get tough, grow a vagina. Those things can take a pounding.
Betty White.
Oh my God. Betty White.
Oh.
She's my spirit animal.
Right. I love looking at pictures of her with, this is going to sound weird, her holding snakes and lizards, because she treats them just like puppies and kitties. It's so amazing. She's like just holding them and like a lizard, like a monitor lizard. And she's sitting there petting it like it's a puppy.
Hey, we have somebody new in the chat that I've never seen before. Hello to Sinister Porpoise.
Sinister Porpoise.
I think I know who the Sinister Porpoise is.
Native atheist, lives in Texas near me, and yes, our governor just signed the "Don't Say Gay" bill. I don't know what all was in it, but it was pretty wide sweeping. Bad news.
You mean just like the Florida bill that DeSantis?
Oh wait.
had?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It wasn't Texas. It was Florida that just passed it today, right?
The Don't Say Gay
A couple
bill.
days
yeah.
ago was the Don't Say
Oh,
Gay bill.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Native-
Florida
no
signed
Native
it on
Atheist
Monday.
was in Texas, though.
Texas,
So
it was
we know what you're
the
talking
trans
about.
sports.
That's the trans,
Right,
yes, the
right,
trans and
trans
sports
sports.
bill. That's right.
But one of the things that that bill has done that is just absolutely ludicrous is it forces trans men and trans boys to compete with women.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you talk about this using women as derogatory. Now they're going to make these boys go play with the girls, basically. Boys that are very, very boys. I know a lot of trans men. I have some great friends who are trans men, and they are the boys. Yes, they are. They would not be happy going and playing softball or whatever with in the powder puff league or whatever they allow in school. That's what they did when I was in high school. They had to, like, the girls football team was called the powder puff league. Stuff like that is really misogynistic, and why can't they just be the varsity girls and the varsity boy football teams? No, they're the powder puff league.
I feel like I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they just mainly try going against trans women.
They
Basically,
do.
women in general, like I don't know.
Most
just-
of them, they're not concerned about trans men. You're right.
Yeah. I think there's the assumption that trans men will never be as strong as men, so there's nothing to worry about. And it's there. It's just being brushed away. It's bull, but it's there.
Yeah.
It is something that I have encountered. My one of my managers was a trans man. He died of cancer a year and a quarter ago. So, but actually helped my understanding a lot. But yeah, I think it's still more of the same misogyny and denial combined. And the two of them, they don't necessarily cancel each other out, but they allow for dismissal in their minds.
And with that, we're starting to get close to the end. So, Jim, do you have any more, or have we reached the end of your list of ways to help keep sane?
I got a bunch more. I'm going to just rapid fire you guys.
Okay.
Do it.
Restaurants and airplanes no longer have thick cloud of cigarette smoke. The chances of a terrorist attack have dropped 20%. Neuroatypical people and those on the spectrum are less and less being treated as second-class citizens. The Y2K bug was a false alarm. Record number of free countries, according to Polity 4 Index. We've discovered the Higgs boson, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, the Hubble telescope, the James Webb telescope, Mars rovers, openly transgender folks in the military. You can now basically carry we talked about that one, all of human knowledge in your pocket now. Social Security was supposed to be bankrupt by now. It's still going. CO2 emissions are down 30%, and the world's atmospheric CO2 output is actually decreasing for the first time since the Industrial Revolution. Vegetarian options are more and more available at grocery stores and restaurants. Amazing additions to the human family tree like Denisovians and Australopithecus sediba. Bam, done.
Bam. I like that last one. Thank you for including that human evolution portion.
Yeah, and one we used to think that there was a slight overlap between Homo sapiens and maybe Neanderthals. Now there's as many as 6 or 7 subspecies of Homo that existed in the same time period. That's crazy to think about.
Oh yeah, such a plastic species that we are, like dogs. Very plastic, very malleable to the environment and to ecological pressures, to cause these vast variations in the way that we evolve.
So if you guys thought this was Granny's show was going to be a downer, I just wanted to help lift it up.
On that first one,
Thank
the
you.
no longer clouded with smoke, Walmart announced this week that on a store-by-store basis, they're going to stop selling cigarettes.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Cool. And thank you, Native Atheist, for the super chat who tells us, and especially to Atheist Edge who brought all the good news. Thanks for the good news.
Glad to do it.
We appreciate you, Jim.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I worked in a truck stop as a waitress, and it was so full of cigarette smoke that I would get home and I would just strip off all my clothes and go take a shower because I absolutely reeked of cigarettes.
Yeah, they used to be, and you used to do that. People would do that in the places where you eat, in restaurants and diners and stuff, and the food would taste like cigarette smoke. I remember that from when I was a kid.
You guys
Oh,
are
yeah.
too young to remember. Airplanes there was
No,
ashtrays on
no.
the armrests.
Mm-hmm.
I am not joking with you all.
That
I
is
still go
crazy.
to a VFW.
I
You guys,
remember.
it's Veterans of Foreign Wars. There's a VFW post that I belong to, and I teach. I'm a Spanish tutor, so I just freelance. Whoever wants to learn Spanish, and that's where I have them meet me. And all VFWs are considered a private club. You have to be a member, and so they still allow smoking. So it's still just you forget. I walk in there, and it's just a heavy, thick cloud of smoke still.
Is everything covered with that yellow film inside there?
Yep.
It's so gross. My mom's house used to be like that. Probably still is.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. You see there on the live chat. Oh gosh.
Yeah, surf nailed you there.
Jim, that what you just said about
Airplanes.
no, the clubs.
Mhm.
That reminds me of a funny story. Once I had a flag that I wanted to get rid of. It was past its prime, and it was time. So I took it to the AFV, and all of the doors said, "Do not enter unless you are a club member." I said, "Well, how am I supposed to drop off the flag if I'm not even allowed to enter?"
They will let you in. You just have to
I
sign in
know,
as a guest.
but
Yeah. Oh.
but I was looking for a guest entrance or something, but
Oh.
every door had a sign on it that said, "Do not enter unless you are a member."
Jeez. They would have taken your flag. Oh,
They
boy.
did.
Okay.
When I couldn't find a way in, I finally just opened one of the doors and I told them what I wanted, and they took my flag.
What do they do with them when you take your flags to the VFW, Jim?
Just depends on what kind of flag it is. If it's something worth displaying, but if it's a lot of
It
times
was
you
a
have
worn out American flag.
Yes.
It was a
Okay. So
retired-
I was
worn
guessing
out.
it was a
retired.
national ensign. If you have a national ensign that's been flown and it's got tatters in it now, the thing most people know, well, a lot of people, if you guys don't know, you can bring it to your nearest VFW and they will dispose of it properly because you're not supposed to throw it in the trash. They dispose of it in a proper way, which is, like kind of a ritual incineration, but
Ceremonial.
yes, you just can't throw a national ensign in the garbage. I mean, you can, but
No, I never
Yeah.
understood. Was it all kind of flags, or was it just a specific
just
flag?
the national ensign, just the American flag.
Yeah.
It might be state by state. I
and-
guess you
and-
don't mess with a Texas flag. I wouldn't know what to do with a Texas flag. And there's organizational flags like the Marine Corps, Air Force flags, and those you can drop them on the floor. It's not the same treatment. You can pick it back up and still use it. But when I was active duty, I did a lot of color guard. We were the opening ceremonies for the San Antonio Spurs basketball games and the San Antonio Dragons ice hockey games. So if one just barely dipped and touched the ground, that's it. That got retired, and we had to get a new national ensign.
Interesting.
Yep.
Jim, you have the most interesting little tidbits of information and facts. I love it.
I've lived 3 lifetimes. That's why I have no problem, trying to get to Ukraine. There's nothing. I'm not suicidal, but really, my kids are grown. I've done everything I want to do. I've been to 43 countries. And there's, why not go help some people?
Well, have you written your memoirs down yet, though? You need to write that down before you go die in Ukraine.
I probably should.
Yeah.
That's a
You could
good-
do that while you have downtime over there,
Yes.
because you'll probably have plenty to add to it while you're there as well.
That's a good damn idea. Wow. I never thought of that, really.
Yeah, Yeah, thanks, Bree.
Oh, Maya Atkinson's in the chat. Wow. Aunt Jer.
Yeah.
And
Start off with some bullet
unfortunately-
points and then expand on them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Maya, you've arrived just as we're ready to wind down, because we are getting close to our hour and a half mark, which is usually where I try to hold it to. So I do want to spend the last couple of minutes giving each of my guests a chance to tell you a little bit about themselves, because there are people in the chat now that were not there at the beginning. And tell if you want to show for anyone, tell them about any channel that you might have or other programs that you're going to be on, or if you have a book you want to plug, or whatever, just take a little bit of time to just say whatever you want to say about yourself or your next of kin or best friend. And Jim, we'll let you go first.
This Sunday, April 3rd, I'm speaking at the Arlington Universalist Unitarian Church. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm giving a lecture. I've given this one quite a few times in the past. Ambassadors of Atheism: How to Be a Positive Role Model for the Atheist Community. I just did a. It's up on my channel on Atheist Edge. Aaron Ra and I did a show on what's the best argument for the non-existence of God. And it's getting some traction. If you want to go check it out, I'm pretty proud of that one. That is it.
Okay, very good. Hellbound Hillbilly.
Well, honestly, I'm here because I told my story over on Neil the 604 Atheist channel, and I appreciate him letting me have that opportunity. I appreciate being included in the conversation tonight. Beyond that, if you want to watch me cuss at games while I do poorly, you can find me over on Twitch, Hellbound_Hillbilly. And my occasional tweet on Twitter, if you just search Hellbound Hillbilly, you'll most likely find me. I can't remember the actual link, but beyond that, I don't have anything new planned right now. So... But thank you.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Jim, did you see this title that Taram had for you for your memoir?
Interesting. I'm going to write that down. Gosh, I never really thought of that.
Gotcha. Thinking.
Yep.
Jyuni, what do you have?
Well, I do have my deconversion stories that I'm going to be posting on my Apostate channel, and I'll be doing some shorts on that channel as well. I do have a music, art, and gaming channel that I'm still trying to build on the and that you can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can go ahead and do so to keep me above the 100 subscriber count. And of course, if you haven't subbed to Granny, what are you doing?
And there are links to everyone who has a channel. There is a link to their channel in the description. For Hellbound Hillbilly, there is a link to his Twitter. So if you want to get in touch with Hellbound Hillbilly and have a talk with him later, there is a link to his Twitter in the description. And Bree, what do you have coming up?
Oh, well, every Saturday I do my Live from the Hive show, Saturday mornings, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. If you like bugs, if you like cryptozoology, if you like poking some fun at some creationists or learning something new about science, or just watching somebody go through a gender identity crisis in their late 30s, any of that can be enjoyed on my channel. So please come over, check us out. I also host The Perspective on alternating weeks over on Your Friendly Neighborhood Atheist. That's a call-in show. So we take all kinds of calls, but my favorite are like the supernatural and Bigfoot calls and stuff like that. Of course, that's my bread and butter. And Jim was talking about Aaron Ra. I have challenged Aaron Ra to a debate. And I'll repeat my challenge here because Aaron Ra said that the compound eye was less efficient than the camera eye, and that's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong, Aaron. I'm challenging you to a debate on the topic. I will be bringing dragonflies to the debate floor, so just keep that in mind when you're picking your arguments.
That does sound like an interesting debate. And coming up on my channel, I always have one produced video every week and one live stream every week. And this week, my produced video is a response to Jay Warner Wallace and Jimmy Wallace, who together did a program on doubt and why what one should do when one has doubts about one's Christian faith. And for next week's stream, I don't know for sure that it will work because I'm trying to coordinate some schedules. So if it comes together, we are going to have the Jenny show with Jen with one N, polymathic Jen, and Jenny Morgan, so that we can have an all Jenny show. And if that does not fit schedules, if we can't get that next week, it will be at some point in the future because I do want to have an all Jenny show.
That's gonna be awesome.
I wish we knew a Ginny with a G. That would round it out nice.
Yes. I'm going to be an honorary Jen for the night.
You could be Ginny with the G. You'll be Ginny with the G for the night. Yeah.
There we go. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of my guests for coming. You've given us an absolutely delightful evening, especially Jim. I've been appreciative very much of all of the tips that you've had on helping us keep our sanity and realize that as many as there are bad things going on in the world, there's a lot of good things out there too.
Indeed.
And thank you to everyone in the chat. You've added a great deal with your questions and comments and to your ideas. It has been an absolute delight. And so with that, everyone, good night and live your life.